Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a good day. It's a beautiful day here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I just want to go ahead and talk to you guys about something real quick that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So I follow this Christian YouTuber. Her name's Hannah Williamson. She's really good at preaching the word. She's very good at speaking the word. She's cute as button. She's just great, man. She's got an amazing heart for the Lord. Anyway, she posted this picture on Instagram, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically it's had a picture of one scientist, and it's like, I don't have enough faith to be a Christian. And the rebuttal was, well, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. And, I've heard that before, and I'm on board with it. The comments in this post were extremely uneducated. They really, really were. And it was just people being like, there is no God, science doesn't support God, blah, 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 blah. All the same stupid arguments that I've heard before. So essentially what I'm going to do here is kind of give you guys tips on how to argue a little bit. So I believe in God. I believe in the Judeo-Christian God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I believe in Jesus as his son. I believe that Jesus died for my sins. He rose again, and because of his death and resurrection, I have right standing with God. I believe that entirely, man. Sorry, walking in Colorado, man. Gets hard to breathe. But I'm not even going to try to convince you guys as to why I believe that in this video. That's a whole other rabbit hole. But what I am going to say is, if you're going to argue that God doesn't exist, bring more to the table than just, well, I don't believe in God because science. Well, it's a lazy, factually inaccurate, and intellectually dishonest argument. So in the realm of science, I was told this in college by a professor, you can never prove anything true, you can only prove it not true. That's why gravity is still considered a theory. You know, the thing that we use to put somebody on the moon? The thing that's using us all to stay here, which I'm actually not too convinced about the moon thing, but that's a whole other argument. But, I mean, we use it to help planes take off and land every single day. But it's considered a theory because there might come a time when it doesn't work anymore. We don't know. So you can't say for sure that gravity is fact. That's why it's considered a theory in the realm of science. What the heck is that? Anyway, sorry. So with that being said, when people say, well, science doesn't support creation and evolution and atheistic evolution, mind you, because there is a theory in Christianity that is accepted that God created everything, and after the fall, things began to evolve and change over time, and God allowed things to change. But once again, whole other rabbit hole that I'm going down. Woo! Drop my phone. So, to say that God doesn't exist because of atheistic evolution, okay, let's just go ahead and get one thing straight. It is impossible to prove that atheistic evolution is the way that we got here. It's impossible. You cannot do it. Human history is only recorded maybe 6,000 or 7,000 years, give or take a little bit. And no one knows what happened before that. No one has any clue. So, like, even when you watch the Discovery Channel, right? And they're like, the Earth is 65 billion years old. You can't say that as a truth claim. You can't make that as a for sure finite truth statement because no one knows. No one has any idea how we got here, realistically. We have no clue. So the only two prevailing theories is that, one, there was a creator, and I'm not even saying who it is right now. I know what I believe, but that's not the point of this video. So we have something created us, something put us here. The only other option is the Big Bang Theory and atheistic evolution. Now, in my opinion, that's the most asinine, dumb argument I've ever heard. There was nothing that exploded into everything, and it all worked out the way it had to work out because it had to work out that way. That makes no sense to me. As a rational, free-thinking human being, I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. It doesn't make sense. It's more believable for me to believe that we were created. So then you go down the trail of, well, what created us? Who created us? And when you break it all down, Dr. Ravi Zacharias does this better than anybody I've ever seen. Shows that there's only evidence, or there's an overwhelming amount of evidence for one God. And that is the Judeo-Christian God, Jesus as his son. There's literally more evidence for Jesus as the Son of God than there is for the Big Bang Theory. You know why? People saw Jesus. No one saw the Big Bang happen. No one saw an amoeba turn into a fish, grow legs, walk out on land. No one saw it. So to say, well, there is no God because science. Okay, so once again, in science, you can only prove something not true, right? So it is impossible to disprove the existence of God. To quantify it, to say for sure, finite fact, there is no God. It is impossible to prove that. So if you're 100% based in science, You must therefore acknowledge the possibility of the existence of God. And if you make a truth claim and say there is no God, well, now you're talking about faith, because science doesn't support your claim. So we can go ahead and have that claim, and I will tell you why my faith says there is a God, and I will say that as a truth claim. And then you can tell me why you believe there is no God, which is your faith-based truth claim. But to say because science, back it up. Back it up, bring more to the table, and you can say, well, through my scientific study, I don't believe there is a God. Cool. And I'll say, well, through my scientific, historical study, facts, logic, reason, evidence, cohesive story, I do believe there is a God, and we can have that conversation from there. But to make a claim, a truth claim, that there is no God because science, that's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. It's really, really lazy, factually inaccurate, intellectually dishonest, and pretty asinine, man. It really, really is. So that's all I'm here to do today. Like I said, I'm not even going to convince you, that God is real. I'm not going to convince you that, Jesus is the Son of God. I don't know, I get to look at the Rocky Mountains right there every day. It's kind of hard for me to believe that just happened. Pretty sure it was designed, but once again, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. So I'm really just giving people a little more tips on how to argue. If you say you don't believe in God because science, that's a stupid argument. It really is, and it's lazy and it's factually inaccurate. So go ahead, do a little bit of research. Bring some more to the table, because if you say that, well, I don't believe in God because science, it immediately lets me know that you don't know what you're talking about. So go ahead, do some actual research, do some stuff, and think critically. Think for yourself, man. Really. Think. Here, I'm getting blown all over the place. Think for yourself, dude. Seriously. Some dude in a beaker and a bow tie tells you that the Earth is 65 billion years old, and you're just like, oh, okay. You just believe it out of nowhere? Think about it, dude. Be like, dude, no one knows. You think that the Earth is that old, but you don't know. 20 years ago, no one thought that we'd be walking around with supercomputers in our pockets. Yet here I'm recording this video on one of those supercomputers, a phone, you know what I mean? That's how crazy science is and how differently we find things, man. So no one knows, and you can't use carbon dating as a solid proof answer, because it's wrong just as often as it is right. So can't really take that into account. Now, I'm saying if someone wants to have the conversation with me and bring facts, logic, reason, and evidence to that and say this is why I don't believe in God, okay, we can have that conversation, because I know I've done my research. I'm ready to back mine up. So let's go ahead and have that conversation. But like I said, once again, not to beat a dead horse, man, but to say there is no God because science, bring more to the table. Get yourself a little more educated. Get yourself a little more, oh, look at all these cars. Get yourself a little more ammunition for the argument, and then we'll talk about it. Because like I said, the moment you say I don't believe in God because science, I immediately know that you don't know what you're talking about. You really don't. So, and don't get emotional about the argument, because I've said nothing about, why I believe in Jesus yet. I haven't even told you guys why I believe it. I have not gotten emotional with you. I'm merely saying, as a rational, free-thinking human being, we need to question things, and we need to look at it for what it really is. Because to say that God, or that science doesn't support the existence of God, that's just not true. And it's factually inaccurate, intellectually dishonest, and lazy. So, anyway, that's all I gotta say, dude. If you guys don't follow Hannah Williamson, please go follow her on her social media, on her Instagram. I'm probably going to become one of her Patreons just because I believe in her ministry and what she's doing. And yeah, man, just be blessed and know that I do love you. Jesus loves you. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. See you guys.